What happened here was the 2 minutes of opening credits created a high-pressure system that simply couldn't be contained by the roof. This gratuitous high-top reveal only works when it's some kind of Chekhov's man bun. So what we have here is more of a red herring. And if you couldn't tell by now, yes, I am white. A fact that will be painful and obvious, not only during the sitting of this movie, but also during the post-sentence scene where I attempt to recreate some of the film's iconic dance moves. I apologize in advance. Movie does not contain a play quarter. We wouldn't dare play the music, but still want to point out that Kid is listening to the title track off Kid and Play's 1990 album Funhouse. And so the sin, as always, is listening to your own music while taking a shower. Also, showering like this. No amount of microphones will stop me from thinking that Kid is way too excited for the amount of spray-on hone he is likely getting in his mouth.
Chris, finish your breakfast, boy!
This asshole attempts to leave pancakes, eggs, hash browns, and bacon on the table and just take a piece of toast. As far as I'm concerned, this movie is not so much a coming-of-age comedy as it is an anti-hero origin story.
Deaf women, man, I'm gonna be hooking you up with, man. This ain't no tackhead party. Deaf women like those.
For a moment, I thought Play was being ableist, but then I looked at the subtitles and realized my whiteness had crept up on me again. Even though no amount of wokeness can help with that, I figured I just might be able to distract you by pointing out how the male gaze just kicked in with full force before full force could enter the movie with medium force. Please don't cancel me.
Hey, don't play.
This school cafeteria hot dog has some sort of gravitational pull on the same person that couldn't be bothered to eat the full breakfast that was laid out for him earlier. And yes, I'm still stuck on that. When I was in high school, a weekday breakfast consisted at most of singular Eggo waffle, and Kid tried to pass up a full stack of pancakes.
Stab, I'm really sorry.
Having a character named Stab drink milk from a tiny carton, or just drink milk in general. Also, this guy's supposed to be a high school student. House Party clearly attended the Grease Academy for casting actors as high school students. Kid was on his way to get milk for Full Force, but then Full Force somehow got to the milk place before Kid. And even with the slight delay to talk to Sydney and Shireen, we have to assume he was taking the shortest route. You know what? Instead of trying to further explain how this doesn't make sense and just seems like they're all cramming a full day of bullying into one lunch period, I'm just giving the scene a sin for almost turning this into one of those I should care about two trains headed somewhere math problems.
Yo, I will break my leg off, up in your ass so far that you be shitting sneaker for a month.
Sure, I get it now, but I can tell you from experience that threatening to break your own leg off inside a person will confound a 15-year-old from the suburbs who, upon viewing White Men Can't Jump, ambitiously thought that his jumper was capable of earning him any kind of respect on the local courts. So the sin, as always, is my J. Who throws Jell-O like this? Half of it would slide down your hand and arm and not make it anywhere near your intended target. Then after you're done, you have a sticky hand and a sticky arm. And everyone else has Jell-O that's had a hand in it.
Yo, watch out, man, watch it!
Come on, movie. They were 2 feet in front of him at most. My suspension of disbelief is going to need you to either move them further away or move Reagan closer.
I smell
Kid will try to throw a punch here instead of delivering the obvious comeback of he who smelt it dealt it. Okay, maybe it's not the obvious comeback, but I've never heard it used in that way. And I'm pretty sure the sheer weight of confusion it would create in the lunchroom would have diffused the situation. Kid has just been punched in the face 3 times, and there's not a single mark on his face.
I'm sorry I almost hit Mr. Wilson in the back of the head with a Jell-O fruit cup.
Not pictured in this scene, a fruit cup.
Could you tell me why in God's name you called his mother a garden tool?
I'm not gonna lie, this got me to chuckle. But also, I'm not buying that a high school principal in 1990 did not understand the derogatory meaning that the word hoe could imply.
Make me some Dick Gregory. Why, you want some?
Well, I was today years old when I learned that comedian Dick Gregory had a nutrition drink. And weirdly, I was only a little bit older than that when I learned he was also an activist, a politician, and an author. Did I just learn something? Fine, take a sit off.
Pop, these the only pieces of mail you got today?
Was the mail so fast in the 90s that it would even be possible for the school to send a letter and have it arrive on the same day? And before you say that someone from the school could drop it off, you should know that for this sin, that would be considered a disciplinariogram and would receive a sin for being a self-contradiction in that it's less annoying but more upsetting than a singing telegram. Holy f***ing hell, that's stalker levels of pictures of scantily clad women on Bilal's wall. I'm assuming in House Party 2, we discover the next step in his evolution to a full-blown serial killer.
There's a party tonight at Peter's house. Can I go?
On a school night?
School night parties, especially the ones I wasn't invited to. Play, the kid who seems like he throws tons of parties, is making a rookie move by vacuuming beforehand. Sure, he is super smooth, always keeps it 100, and all the things kids say these days, but this still feels like more of a play that Kid would make.
Toe to toe, Kid and Play is on a roll again. It's only right that we keep the crowd dancing.
I get that Kid's dream is to become a hip-hop artist, and you can't always predict when the creative juices will start flowing, but he's trying to get the f*** out of the house before Pop finds out about the fight at school, so why does he think he has time for this?
Let him with this plastic.
Play replaces his mother's nice stemware with plastic cups. A smart move that I wish I had learned a couple decades sooner. However, he puts them in the still very breakable china cabinet.
He called Mom out a name.
Well, don't you think it's been long enough?
Telling your kid how much to grieve over a parent's death.
I don't give a damn if Marvin Gaye gonna be there. You won't.
I understand needing to discipline your child, but making one measly school fight out to be worth your kid missing a golden opportunity to mingle with the man that sang the ultimate song seems like a little much. We all need priorities, but if Marvin Gaye comes to the door, you answer it. Movie never explains the story behind these two random werewolf masks that kid has in his room, and I need that story, guys. Movie spends at least 5 minutes on Play not doing what he agreed to do for Bilal as far as getting him and his DJ equipment to the party, and that is at least 7 minutes too many.
Who's that in the car, Play?
Oh, that's a honey.
Excuse me, that is Kelly Joe Minter in that car, and he will treat 80s, 90s young adult movie royalty with the respect it deserves. Summer School, The Lost Boys, and A Nightmare on Elm Street 5 would all like you to get the out of here with that it's just a honey bullshit Play. This friendship survives the wanton desecration of the speaker.
My mama ain't no bitch.
If I'm a bitch, your mama's a bitch.
This particularly sinful use of the symmetric property of equality.
You could drink that peanut. We out of here.
Turning down Kool-Aid that you yourself requested. Gah! Siblings.
Look at all that sugar. Just thinking about drinking that stuff makes my teeth hurt.
Well, it's better than having nightmares about Wilford Brimley. That's what's in store for me later.
You want to check him for ID? We're out of donuts.
What?
Considering the cast of Police Academy here will later go on to harass Kid's father and then take full force down to the docks to kick the shit out of them, I feel like this Deus Ex Cops Love Donuts cliche downplays all the horrible shit they end up doing. Movie plays this like it's just high school hijinks, but they just tried to murder him. Twice.
My mother you.
Peeping kids.
Here's another dusty one for you dusties.
I don't even feel good about saying this, but PCU has a better George Clinton plays a house party scene than House Party.
Hey everybody, my name is Kid.
Movie has time for this. This movie is 7% crotch grabs and hits. This movie is a dick to the dick.
They need discipline, not solitary confinement.
That's true.
To think this statement is now over 30 years old, and in all that time, this country has yet to properly deal with the over-policing and incarceration of young black men. So for the writers who included this relevant social commentary that is unfortunately still relevant, I'm going to have to remove a sin. But also, the writers will later on have full force try to burn down a house with people in it, making it super hard to sell the idea that Stab and company just need discipline. No, you had it right before. We're adding one. What the hell? Okay, I get it. It's usually all fun and games here, but on occasion we should acknowledge that the films we love to love hate do live in and are influenced by the world just like we are, and certain messages are more important than the sin count, so the removal stand and we can get back to the party. Atlanta Braves fans.
I paid $15,000 for this house.
Imagine being able to buy a house for $15K. So the sin, as always, is inflation.
What the hell is a public enemy anyway?
Making us nostalgic for the pre-internet days when you could shout questions into the ether and not receive an answer.
I'm getting those digits.
I too have confidenced myself into a British accent while on my way to get those digits, and the resulting drink that was thrown in my face is all the evidence I need to know that this will always be a sin.
Hey, why you blocking me, man?
Announcing you're being blocked in front of a woman who had not yet asked for your therefore only in your mind is the getting blocked.
I be alone with a woman sometimes, and I'm damn near about ready to wax that ass, and all I can do is vision this fool, man. Word?
Wouldn't be a 90s comedy without a little repressed homophobic humor added in. Also, Stab not noticing the thin line between love and hate. Also, why is Stab so obsessed with Kid? The movie makes it seem that their first scrap was earlier today, and all that happened was Stab got some of his milk spilled on him.
We'll make it like a real house party.
Roll credits.
Come on, girl, put some use to them coins on your feet.
Bilal believes this comment will entice Sydney to want to dance with him.
This stuff here makes your hard.
It does not.
Yo, Kid, man. Yo, do that dance stuff you was doing out there on the dance floor.
Movie works way harder than it needs to for us to see the Kid and Play two-step. All right, this dance battle scene is iconic. But it's also the reason that my younger self believed every dance was a dance battle. A view not shared by several clubs throughout the tri-state area, which I am still forbidden to patronize.
Yo, Bilal! Switch again!
Dickish Kid is dickish for no reason. But also, the movie feels like it's missing a scene that would explain why he's so against dancing with this one random girl. I feel like this is the same one from earlier that caught him looking at Shireen. But even if that's the case, that doesn't explain why he's this eager to move on to dancing with someone else. Without this movie, we don't get Bad Boys 2. Movie spends way more time on high school crotch grinding than I am comfortable with.
You don't know you f***ing with. I'm from a small town called Fresh Off a Cop's Ass. You're making me homesick.
Robin Harris steals every scene he's in and makes it look easy as hell in the process. He left this world way too early. It's a shame we didn't get 40 more great performances after this one.
Always and forever.
Without this movie, we don't get Big Mama's House 2. Also, we wouldn't dare play it, but the sheer number of us that were likely conceived to this song is most definitely a sin.
Hey, Stab, I'd really love to come out and play with you, but I'm a little busy right now with your girl on my lap.
I'm aware this is just part of his character, but it's wild to do this when those same people tried to drive over you with a Jeep earlier in the night. So I guess the sin is just kid.
The roof! The roof!
The fact that Play is singing "The Roof is on Fire" with zero knowledge of Stab's plans to burn his house down is some serious irony. And I'm not just talking about the Alanis Morissette kind of irony.
Yo, who got a light?
How about a Bud Light?
Either a very strange product placement or the worst punchline ever told. Either works for me. The police arrest full force and just f*** off without even inquiring about the party obviously going on inside the house. Sure, attempted arson is more serious than a party, but the movie has established that these two are not really that concerned with public safety.
Let's take him down to the docks. Nobody can hear him scream.
All jokes about confusing the docks with space aside, I seriously thought the movie was taking a wildly dark turn into summary execution. Maybe I watch too many mob films, but that's the kind of that usually happens when you take someone to the docks, and the movie doesn't provide any proof to the contrary until full force is randomly back in their Jeep later.
Give me that mic.
Oh, you want some of this?
House Party rips off the rap battles from 8 Mile.
I think it's time for the new kid on the block.
Just for the record, it is never time for New Kids on the Block. Also, Kid clearly didn't need his lyric sheet, so not sure why he was so irritated he lost it earlier. Also, it's very coincidental he wrote lyrics that went perfectly to a random beat he had no way to know would be played later.
Is it gonna be me or Eraserhead?
This is the second Eraserhead reference, and as the rules state, each film is only allowed one.
Oh, yeah? Anything y'all could do, I also could do, but I could also do it better.
Why does Martin Lawrence look as confused about the delivery of that line as I am after hearing it? What the light is shining in this window right now? I thought it might have cut to the morning, but that's not true, and for some reason, they've got 40,000 lumens blasting through their window.
Come back to bed, Harry. Harry?
Infidelity.
Why you gotta play the alky role at my party?
Why are you not asking if this guy's still alive? He's been on the ground since your dance-off 3 days ago.
Is that you?
Movie never lets us know how Groove's concussion protocol goes after he falls face first onto this floor.
You gotta take things slow at first.
Nudging side boob with your arm isn't taking things slow. My college girlfriend gave me all the wrong tips.
Well, after Mr. Williams' son went crazy and started sniping people from the roof, most guys just drop me off in the corner and tell me to call him when they get home.
Just because kids' steadfast pursuit of sexy time is in line with the results expected from the irrational cost-benefit analysis going on in a teenage brain doesn't make this any less of a power of boners sin.
Hey, what's wrong?
Boners make you stupid and all that, but Kid was written smart enough to not be this naive.
I remember one time my father put me on punishment for a month because I came home late from a party. I still get depressed thinking about that one.
Not depressed enough to have stayed home tonight. Don't get me wrong, I'm glad to see that hormone-induced horny short-sightedness is more powerful than depression, but the movie is treating this like Kid's superpower.
Damn, look at the log in that mother.
No one will be seated during the third act poop flick vignette that take place in the bathroom.
I'll tell you what's not right. The way you keep fronting on me. That ain't right.
Kid is giving shit to Sydney because she wants to take things slowly while he really wants to smash her subscribe button. It seems all cool because they do hash things out and come to an understanding, but it also seems uncool because every line Kid delivers feels and sounds like a lie. Even,
You see, my mother's dead.
don't hate me, I'm just the messenger on this one.
Now that we're friends, let's get with the loving.
Even with all the terrible pickup lines we have heard throughout the runtime of this movie, I feel like it's definitely a sin that this is the best one.
I guess it's been in here a little too long.
Yep, keeping condoms in your wallet makes them not work good. So don't do that. As always, you'll get kids, or a host of other bad shit.
I don't even know how those hoodlums got into the party.
The movie chooses to make Sid's dad the guy Kid knocked over at the party. He and Stab crashed earlier. But nothing at all comes of this. Kid and Sid's father don't run into each other again, so the pointless and coincidental plot twist is pointless and coincidental. This little dog from the machine doesn't seem like the type that you leave outside to alert you of rambunctious teens sneaking out of your house. This thing would have been eaten by something bigger, like the opossum in the following chase sequence. Kid chooses to take the time to place Frenchie in the covered grill, giving him a greater chance of being caught by Sid's parents instead of just running into the night.
Classic sounds of sexy soul.
Making out one room over from where people are eating and also one room over that has a corpse on display. I know sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do, but at least close the door. The story suddenly grants this opossum the same you shall not pass powers as Gandalf. Also, this violent beating ends with the same physical consequences as all the other altercations in the movie. That is to say, there are none. No blood, bruises, or signs that anything happened at all.
Freeze!
This well-dressed cameo of the director and his brother doing a bizarre crime is severely unexplained. Movie expects us to believe Play knows who each of these coats belongs to.
That's why you can't be on CPT. I need you on Japanese people time.
Stereotyping people as punctual is still stereotyping. Without this movie, we don't get Black Knight 2.
Hey, Shireen!
Shireen's dad hears Bilal, but somehow doesn't hear Play just a few seconds later.
After we go get Kid, we all gonna shoot over to Burger King.
Burger King?
This has got to be the first ever instance of Lady Boners and Burger King combining their powers to resolve a storyline. I'm not even mad. Hell, I don't even disagree. And believe it or not, my agreeing with things is usually a sin. 4 people fit in this car with DJ equipment, even though earlier Play could barely fit 2 people in here with all the equipment. It's as if the plot needing them to be together automatically turned this car from a Chevy Chevette into a Chevy TARDIS. This oddly democratic process of deciding who gets to f someone avoids the origin of these straws. Kid rapping his way out of non-consensual sex doesn't work contextually in our world anymore, and it probably shouldn't have worked logically in the movie either.
Yo, this is a no-go. I'ma call a CO. Me a homo? Nah, man, that's a no-no.
That kind of motivation, I guess you could have rapped all night.
Movie never answers the question of whether or not they actually went to Burger King after getting Kid out of jail. Also, now there are 5 people in this car with all of Bilal's equipment. Getting this excited when your friend is making out with someone.
What's up?
I didn't have any rubbers.
Hey, her parents come home, so even if he had a condom, Kid still wasn't going to be having sex with Sid that night. But for whatever reason, he leaves that part out and lets Play and Bilal rag on him.
I can explain.
Choosing the soothing sounds of an ass beating to score your closing credits.
I hope the roof flies off and I get sucked up into space.
Houston, we are venting something out into space.
Hey, Eraserhead. Where are you going?
You've just been erased.
Every time I come in the kitchen, you in the kitchen, in the goddamn refrigerator, eating up all the food.
Well, I guess we would smell like to a bunch of
Then you got your assholes, Chuck. And all the assholes want us to all over everything.
This guy raps like his parents jerked him. He sounds like Eric Sermon, the generic version.
No, don't get up. Hey, it smells delicious.
Dinner's ready.
What did you do?
I rip your tongue out and lick my balls with it.